twisted path which winds its way through the ancient trees of Grey Glen Forest, by the boot and sandal of many a weary traveler who has wandered the dark woods in search of the sunlit hills beyond the forest's edge. Look up ahead. Can you see that caped figure rounding the path by Black Gorge Boulder? Can you hear his voice, strong and true, as he sings his greetings to his woodland friends? 'Tis the bard Caruso strumming his lute. Spiraling down the trunk of a towering old pine comes Chattertail, a gossipy old squirrel. From his perch at the forest's leafy crown, Chattertail keeps a keen eye on all who pass below. This very morning, before the dewdrops had left the forest lilies, Chattertail had witnessed a sight which had left him trembling.
Goody, goody, friend of mine, Caruso coming. Hickety, pickety, come here, quickety. Talkie, talkie, faster walkie.
Easy there, small friend. I'm walking as fast as these legs will bear me.
With these eyes, surprise, surprise, see much band, sand, sand. Fillary, Fillary, wandering, weeping, over yonder Hillary, sleeping.
Fillary? I know the young druid well. 'Twas she who first showed me the ways of the woodland. Weeping in the forest is a sign that portends nothing good. Lead me to her, Chattertail.
Caruso's eyes grew wide with concern when he saw the beautiful maiden sprawled on the fallen leaves. Using one of his many skills, Caruso cast a spell to reveal magic.
By all the lords of darkness, she is enchanted. Her every fiber reverberates with a magic that is much too powerful for me to attempt to dispel. I must fly to the castle of Strongheart, the good paladin, and seek his aid.
Do so, Bard Caruso. Fillary sickly, quickly, quickly, ailing, failing, surely sorrow. She'll be gone before the morrow.
With a wave of his cape, Caruso transformed himself into a hawk. The bard in bird form flew up through a shaft of sunlight.
Sire, look! Out to the west. See that hawk which flies with such speed. He approaches the castle.
Not every animal is what it appears to be, my friend. I sense trouble.
Within a minute, the hawk landed with a flurry in Strongheart's chambers. The bard transformed himself back to his human form just as Mercian and Ringelrun entered the room.
Caruso, it is you. What brings you to me with such speed?
'Tis a sad song I have to sing today, milord. Young Fillary, the druid girl, lies ailing in yon wood.
Fillary? More times than I can count, her knowledge of the woods has helped me. We must go to her. Carpet, carpet lying there, lift us up upon the air. Bring us high above the land, outward bound on my command.
In one miraculous instant, the carpet fluttered and then rose up off the floor. Strongheart shouted to Ringelrun.
Guard the castle in my absence, old friend! We must be gone!
In a gust of wind, the carpet and its passengers flew out of the window and off across the valley toward Grey Glen Forest.
Look sharp, everyone! We are nearing the spot where I left her.
I pray we are not too late.
There, down below. I can see her between the trees.
Following Strongheart's will, the carpet circled downward and landed on the ground just a few yards from where Fillary lay.
Poor child. Fear not. I shall do all I can to help you. It is clear that you are woefully enchanted. Let me try a dispel magic and remove cursed spell. Stand back, lest my spell remove whatever magic you possess as well.
Then, following an age-old ritual, Mercian began her work. But she could not revive Fillary.
Perhaps her affliction is a disease. Let me try my healing hands upon the girl.
But Fillary had been cursed. Not with a clerical curse, but a strong and powerful curse from the hands of a wizard. If she was to be saved, she must be helped by a wizard of equal power. A wizard such as Ringelrun. Carrying Fillary to the carpet, Strongheart shouted to Caruso.
Stay here with the animals, good friend, and see what they can tell you of this matter. We shall return to the castle and seek the aid of Ringelrun. It is her only hope.
Old Ringelrun had suspected the worst and was ready when Strongheart and his friends returned.
We must be careful lest we kill her with good intentions. I'll start with a detect invisible to see all things.
Using this spell, Ringelrun spotted a small mark upon Fillary's hand. Clutching an amulet for protection, Ringelrun commenced to use his own strong wizardry.
By the light which is knowledge, it's been decades since I have seen a curse of this strength. We must have more information if Fillary is to be saved. The answer to her plight lies locked deep within her mind. I must search her subconscious.
To help her survive the ordeal, Ringelrun cast a spell of strength upon the girl and then began his search for the secret of her dilemma.
She is delirious. I see a basket full of herbs, a bone, and a tree which speaks. It makes no sense. I must go deeper into her subconscious mind, where the waters of thought stand still and undisturbed. Deeper, deeper, deeper. At this level, our thoughts will merge. Look up there on the crest of that dark hill. What is that I see?
It is a tree ant. A tree person like that must surely be a friend. Behold, it draws closer. I believe it is going to speak.
Greetings, Druid girl. What brings you this deep into the woods?
See my basket filled to the brim with all manner of medicinal herbs? I have been gathering them all the day.
But I see there is one plant you have yet to find. The mistletoe, the most valuable of all.
That is true, leafy friend. For as you know, its glossy leaves and white berries often cling to the topmost branches in the woods.
But what are friends for, if not to help? Behold, I bring you the very herb you seek.
Bending its upper branches downward towards the forest floor, the tree ant presented Fillary with a gift. A plump and healthy sprig of mistletoe.
This gift is meant especially for you, sweet Fillary. And believe me, it gives me as much pleasure to offer it as you feel to receive it.
Oh, thank you. But I don't know if I should.
Take it, child. You deserve it.
Well, I suppose it won't hurt to pluck but one small sprig.
Standing on her toes, Fillary reached out and grabbed the mistletoe. The moment she grasped it in her hand, Fillary felt her strength begin to fade.
Goodness, I do feel lightheaded. Perhaps I have wandered too far from home.
Too far indeed, foolish child. Look, there in your hand. Does that look like mistletoe?
Fillary gazed down as if mesmerized. There in her hand, she held not a sprig of mistletoe, but a dry and withered bone, crusty and yellowed with age. She tried to scream, but the very air seemed to catch in her throat. She felt helpless, and she was growing weaker by the moment.
Isn't it beautiful, sweet Fillary? And you do deserve it so.
In one grotesque and horrifying moment, Fillary watched as the tree ant began to twist and writhe before her. Emerging from the bubbling vegetable mass came Skila, an evil magic user. The long black hair flew wildly about her as she hissed with delight.
How do you like my gift, druid child? In accepting this bone, which I transformed to mistletoe, you have also accepted the curse which lies upon it, and taken it willingly too. Warduke will be pleased when he learns of this. This will teach you and your furry little friends not to refuse to help great Warduke. I could kill you now, But it's so much better that you die a slow and withering death. And make no mistake about it, Fillary. This curse is on you now, and you shall carry it to your grave.
The poor girl fainted and fell to the forest floor. Skeela reached down and grabbed back the cursed bone. Then, transforming herself once more, this time into the form of a griffin, she spread her wide wings and flapped skyward with an awful screech.
Sweet dreams, young Fillary. Even with all your powers, you are unable to fight back now. Death awaits you as surely as night awaits the setting sun. Farewell, Fillary. Farewell
and good riddance. Good riddance. Good. Oh, how horrible. I have seen it. Nay, lived it all. Our course of action is clear. We must find the cursed bone and bring it back to Fillary. If she does not give the bone to someone else, she can never cleanse herself of this filthy spell.
Easier said than done, old wizard. And there are many things left unanswered, like who cursed the bone and from what moldering crypt it was taken.
You are right, Strongheart. Skeela could have cursed the bone herself, but knowing we might be able to trace the curse to her once the bone was found, she surely enlisted the help of some twisted soul.
Correct, good cleric. The question is, who?
Ask me, sire. For by my feathers I know the answer. I have flown all this way to tell you once I heard the bard Caruso seeking information in the forest.
Strongheart spun around quickly. There, perched on his windowsill, was a small brown sparrow. The tiny bird flapped its wings and spoke again.
Dear, oh dear, I am too late. I flew as fast as I could once I heard of Fillary's plight. Just yesterday, while I was resting in my nest beneath the eaves of Warduke's castle, I heard Skeela plotting all this with Zargash, the evil cleric.
Tell me, Zargash, if one, not me, mind you, but someone, needed an object upon which to place a curse, what might one choose?
Almost anything would do, fair Skeela. It's all a question of style. Why waste a perfectly good curse on something so mundane and boring as a rock or a coin, when there are so many better objects from which to choose? A dragon's tooth or a troll's head, for instance, much more imaginative. Don't you think so, my dear? And in our business, imagination is all.
That's what I like about you, Zargash. You are unendingly amusing.
And forever in your service, Skeela. Why, just a few yards from here lies a dungeon, whose very bowels spill forth countless perfectly curseable objects.
Such as?
Let me think. Oh, yes. There's that petrified gnome's foot I've been saving for such an occasion.
Gods, think of the smell!
Right you are, fair lady. Far too offensive for your lovely nose. What about a large, dried leech? I know I've got one stashed away somewhere.
Can't bear leeches.
Oh, nor can I, my pretty. But they do come in handy from time to time. Oh, how silly of me. Oh, yes, as usual, I have overlooked the obvious in pursuit of greater things. I just happen to have in my collection a perfectly good skeleton I've kept around for centuries for just such an occasion. It's been years and years, but as I recall, it used to be some sort of servant or other. Offended me, if I remember correctly, dropped a plate of bat's wings, terrible mess. Anyway, rather than let the skeleton crumble to dust, I threw together a little preserve the dead spell to keep it around. It might take me a moment, but I am certain if I look, I can dig it up.
Nothing overpowering. Just a little finger bone will do just fine.
Whatever you say, Skeeler, my charm. Just give me a moment to gather it up, and then I'll go right to work. Oh, this is fun. I haven't enjoyed myself so much since I infested Ringle-Run's Long Johns with blood beetles.
Once the little sparrow had told its tale, it spread its wings and flew off back towards Forest Grayglen. By now, the sun was setting low in the western sky. Long, dark shadows moved silently across the landscape, and as the light of day faded, so faded the color from young Fillary's cheeks. Moment by moment, breath by breath, she was slipping away.
Fillary! If you can hear me, mark my words. I vow by all that is good that I shall find the cursed bone and save you from Skeeler's treachery. If you can only hold on just a little longer.
Just a little longer, and that druid girl will be dead. But before I can celebrate, I've got to find a place to hide the bone.
Well, I am a bit of an expert in such matters. Perhaps I can assist.
We could put it back in the dungeon where it came from, but Strongheart will be sure to seek it there. No, we've got to be cleverer than that. Oh, how silly of me. Why didn't I think of it sooner? We can place the bone in the cave of the Red Dragon. That evil beast will guard it for us.
Oh, a clever solution, Skeeler, but just a tad transparent, don't you think? Well, my plan would be a trifle more subtle. While Strongheart is hopelessly scrupulous, he is anything but stupid, my dear. He's sure to associate us with things wicked, so it behooves us to associate with things good, no matter how repulsive it may seem. I would suggest placing the bone in question in the cave of the Copper Dragon, the big, stupid, chaotic Copper Dragon.
Not that blithering reptile.
Oh, the self-same, my jewel. The cave of the Copper Dragon, placed as it is high in the craggy peaks of Mount Rathskag, is the last location Strongheart will ever think of.
Well, Zargash, aren't you just the clever one? Your plan is brilliant!
Did you expect less, sweet Skeeler?
After all, why should two such evil personages as ourselves hide anything, even a trifling cursed bone, in the cave of the good Copper Dragon?
Why, indeed, my pet, I wouldn't dream of it.
And of course, neither would I.
Never?
Never.
You know, for the life of me, I fail to understand why anyone wants to be good.
I do agree, Zargash. Especially when it's so very much fun being wicked.
Using an enchanted map, Strongheart and Mercian have found their way to the cave of the Copper Dragon in search of the enchanted bone they need to save young Fillary. But had they known what waited inside, they might have been in less of a hurry. For in all the world, there are few sights less appealing than two dragons taking up cohabitation in one small cave.
Did you hear that? My stomach has been empty for so long, you can land a pterodactyl in it. I need food.
Some provider you turned out to be. I should have listened to my mama. She warned me that if I married you, I'd go hungry. And by my eggs, I'm hungry.
Leave that old dragon out of this.
Beast, You leave my mama alone.
You brought her up, you old skin. Now go scratch up some food before I really lose my temper.
If you remember correctly, it was you who devoured our last stash of smoked goblins. You kicked the bones bare.
By my scales, there's got to be something around here to eat.
Greetings, Copper Dragon, and my salutations to your lovely wife.
Well, come in.
Don't take all day about it.
You sit over there and get yourself nice and warm by the fire.
We were just preparing to eat.
You couldn't have come along at a better time.
Thank you for your hospitality. But food is the furthest thing from our thoughts.
But hardly from ours. Right, sweetheart?
Rather. I was just about to scrape together a little mouthful, and you too could be of such assistance.
I'm afraid our mission is urgent. There is no time for dinner.
Oh, there's always time for dinner. Besides, you are dinner.
We are at your mercy, Copper Dragon.
No, I precious little of that. Get on with it.
Mercian and I will willingly crawl into your pots if you can assure us there has been no one else in your cave in the past few days.
Someone in my cave? Rubbish! I'm always on guard. I heard nothing. No one enters my cave unnoticed.
That's right. We don't miss a trick. Besides, if someone had been here, there'd be little left of him now.
But if we could prove to you that someone had entered your cave without your knowledge, would you consent to let us go in peace?
Well,
Only if you promise not to make a fuss and just come along to the kitchen quietly.
You have my word on it.
all right, all right. State your proof and be quick about it.
All my wizards tell me that a wickedly cursed bone was hidden here by Skeela, the evil magic user. We've come to claim the bone and then be gone.
A bone? Any meat left on it?
Doubtful, your dragonage. It's a mere finger bone. Useless to you, but of the utmost importance to me. A young girl's life hangs in the balance.
A young girl's life? Well, I suppose.
How could we refuse?
I knew as good dragons I could count on your help.
Raising her hands high over her head, Mercian cast a locate object spell.
Object, if near here you be, show your hiding place to me.
The moment the chant had left her lips, Mercian felt a tugging on her sleeve. It was as if she was being pulled toward the secret hiding place where Skeela had placed the cursed bone. Mercian and Strongheart found themselves in a dark corner of the cave. Frantically, they began digging through a pile of treasure. Behind them, the dragons waited impatiently, their mouths awater. Using every power of intuition at her command, Mercian thrust her hand down deep within the mound of treasure. The moment she touched the bone, she felt a cold shiver run through her.
By the Holy Star, I found it!
Gods be praised. We must hurry if Fillary is to live.
Skeela, that greedy shrew, creeping about my cave right under my nose. I could die of mortification. My God, the jewels!
If that witch has pocketed any of my booty, I'll...
Shut up, you idiot, and start counting!
Once back at his castle, Strongheart wasted not a moment in getting the bone into Ringelrun's hands. The very moment the old wizard slipped the cursed object into young Fillary's pale hand, he could see the blood begin to course again through her cold body. But she would never be completely cured until she gave the bone to someone else. Only in that way could she pass the curse to another and free herself. But who would willingly accept such a gift?
Let her pass the bone to me. I would gladly give my life to save one who has served me so well in the past.
No, there must be a better way.
It only makes sense to try and find someone who would welcome such a fate.
But surely, Mercian, no one welcomes death.
That is not always true. There are those who would gladly embrace the Reaper as they would a long-lost brother.
I know of no one that ill in this land.
Just a moment. Remember the little sparrow who came to visit us and told of Scylla's wicked plan?
Not that poor little thing. Surely you wouldn't.
Oh, of course not, Strongheart. You are missing Mercian's point. The sparrow said that the bone was taken from the skeleton of some poor soul locked deep in Warduke's dungeon. Accepting the cursed gift from Fillary would not only make this poor fellow whole again, but might even free him from Zargash's spell, which has kept him among the undead for, these many years. Of course, we will need Fillary's help. The spells of strength and rejuvenation I have cast upon her should make her strong enough to undertake this challenge within an hour.
Then let us ready ourselves. We will need all of our strength to face the countless foul creatures that swarm like rodents in the dungeon of Warduke's castle.
That day, Strongheart, Ringelrun, Mercian, and young Fillary stood by the entrance of Warduke's dungeon. A cold draft blew up through the dark and dank corridors, which led down beneath the soggy earth. The old wizard held his staff before him to ward off evil.
Fillary, take my arm and lean on me for strength. Are you sure you are well enough to begin?
I will find the strength. I must.
We are braced for the worst. The event is in the hands of the gods. Let us begin.
From her chambers, high in the parapets of Warduke's castle, Scylla watched on, wringing her hands in delight. In her crystal ball, she could see the brave foursome taking the first steps down the mossy rocks.
How absolutely perfect to have all four of them in one spot. How I've longed for an opportunity like this. I shall unleash upon them a torrent of monsters, so frightful that in years to come this will be remembered as my finest hour.
Knowing that an attack from Scylla was a certainty, Strongheart and his friends spared not a moment in their quest. But there were many sets of bones in this dungeon. Using her power to animate the dead, Mercian called forth the bones of the skeleton they sought.
Poor soul, I speak to the heart of you, for we possess a part of you. We come to help and not to harm. Rise up, old bones, and show your form.
As the moldy bones clattered and danced before them, the old skull swung about and the jawbone creaked open.
No more. I pray thee no more. I have suffered enough. Torture me no more.
With eyes long since turned to dust, he cannot see who commands him thus. He fears it is Zargash returned to wreak more havoc on his undead soul.
Fear not, old bony vessel. We come in peace.
To be dead, truly dead is all I desire.
And so it shall be, Fossil. For though this bone cursed be, sweeter than life is death to thee. Hold forth your hand and so be whole. May God have mercy on your soul.
The pitiful old relic thrust out a bony arm and uncurled a four-fingered hand. Young Fillary reached forth and gently placed the cursed bone back in the hand of its rightful owner. Ribbons of tears streamed down her pale cheeks.
Don't be sad, Fillary. It is a blessing you bring to him.
Then, in one ghastly and beautiful moment, the old bones fell away in a shower of dust as the skeleton's voice crumbled inward with a low hiss.
Bless you. May all the gods bless you. I am free.
Then, the very darkness which surrounded them came alive. Commanded by Scylla, all manner of foul creatures crawled forth from their moldy crypts. Rushing toward them came a scrambling pack of trolls, snarling and spitting as they clawed their way through the tunnel.
Back, everyone!
I'll handle this. Behold, a wall of flame.
Fearing the fire, the singed and screaming trolls recoiled back into darkness. For a moment, it appeared that Strongheart and his followers were safe. Then, bursting through the flame, came a monstrous red dragon.
By my sword, what a monster! I will try to hold him back while the three of you make a run for safety! Back, wizard!
But the dragon had trapped all of them in a rocky corner of the dungeon. Although Strongheart slashed at the attacking dragon, he was losing ground. The red dragon spewed forth fiery, sulfurous breaths. The monster was closing in for the kill. Suddenly, Fillary felt her powers returning. Using her druid power to turn rock to mud, she focused all her energy on the stone wall behind her. At first, it seemed that in her weakened state, she could not exercise her power over the elements. She clenched her fists and strained her powers to their limit. Just when all seemed lost, the rock began to ooze.
Careful, everyone. I've made an escape path through the rock.
By now, the dragon was so close, it had singed the whiskers on Ringlerun's beard. Closing in around the edges of the flame came ghouls, giant rats, and countless other creatures of filth, sensing victory. Then, just as the red dragon was about to seize Strongheart in its fierce jaws, a bright shaft of sunlight split the darkness. In an instant, the light-bearing vermin crawled back out of the light.
This way. Follow me to safety.
By the saints, we are saved!
Fillary has found her powers.
Climbing upward through the mud, the four brave adventurers made their way towards the light, the blinding light of salvation.
It was a great victory! I can just imagine Warduke's rage when he learns how Skeela has failed once again. I can well imagine what she and Zargash are eating tonight. Crow! Why, what's the matter, Fillary? You aren't laughing and you've hardly eaten anything on your platter.
Perhaps you are not well, my child.
No, good wizard. I am fine, thanks to all of you. I owe you a debt I shall never be able to repay.
You owe us nothing, Fillary. We are only glad that you've recovered. But tell us true, what is vexing you?
I think I know. A druid too long from the woods begins to feel the call of home.
But surely, Fillary, this could be your home. We would welcome you.
And I might be happy here. Until I heard the wild cry of my brother, the wolf. Or saw my sisters, the brown geese, drifting skyward across a golden sunset. No, Strongheart. The woods are my home, and it is there that I must return.
But when will we see you again, Fillary?
Dear friends, you will see me everywhere you look. On the rough and wooden face of every tall oak you shall see my sign. In the beating of every feathered wing you shall hear my name, if you listen with your hearts as well as your ears. Look for me in the sunlight on the still pond, and I will be there. Call my name to the wind, and I shall answer.
But surely you cannot leave us now? It is still night.
No, Strongheart. Look to the east. It is dawn, and another day begins.
And with the day, a new beginning.
Fillary crossed the room to the open window, which looked out onto the hills and the forest beyond.
What can I say? Our words are so small.
Just say goodbye, my child. We understand.
Fillary turned to speak the words, but before a breath could cross her lips, she was gone. In her place appeared a beautiful eagle. Strongheart, Mercian, and old Ringlerun watched in silence as the mighty bird flapped its wings and headed away. Up ahead, shining green and bright in the morning sun, stood the tall trees of Grey Glen Forest. Fillary looked back but once, and saw the tiny figures of her friends waving their farewells from the castle window. Then, feeling the strong currents of air beneath her, she tipped her wing to the wind and was gone.